Welcome to the overview of the second edition of the Resource Allocation Review process. This video will provide a brief overview of the Resource Allocation Review, the objective of this team-based inquiry, an introduction to the 6 phases of the inquiry, and instructions for accessing guidance materials. This video will provide a high-level overview of what the Resource Allocation Review is and how to access materials to guide a team through this process. Schools identified for CSI and ATS must complete the Resource Allocation Review as part of the requirements for completing the School Level Improvement Plan. The plan will indicate that the school conducted a review of resource allocation to identify any inequities. The resource inequity is identified, and a plan must be developed within the MyKit platform to address the inequity. One frequently asked question is, who must complete the Resource Allocation Review? Under ESSA, schools that have been identified for CSI and ATS supports are required to engage in this process and address any inequities with the required improvement plan. According to the legislation, the district is responsible for conducting the review for a school identified for comprehensive supports, or CSI, whereas a school identified for additional targeted supports, ATS, is responsible for conducting the resource allocation review. Best practice suggests that in both cases, the school and district collaborate throughout this inquiry process. For each school, the review occurs during the continuous improvement process, informing the development of the required improvement plan for the school. Any resource inequity identified is required to be addressed within the improvement plan. ESSA legislation explains the school district serving a school identified to receive comprehensive supports and intervention, CSI, will identify resource inequities to be addressed through the implementation of the Comprehensive Improvement Plan. Additionally, schools identified for additional targeted support, ATS, will also identify resource inequities to be addressed through the required improvement plan. Historically, districts partner with its ISD RESA partner to facilitate continuous improvement planning activities. Although the responsibility of this work belongs to the district, it may ask for assistance from an ISD RESA partner or MDE consultant to support the inquiry process. The Resource Allocation Review is an inquiry within the assessed needs process focused on the equitable assignment or allocation of available resources to meet the needs of each student served. This process is designed to guide a team through the inquiry of resource allocation to determine if strategies intended to meet the needs of students is adequately resourced to ensure that each student has access to learning opportunities that enable improved whole child outcomes. The objective of the Resource Allocation Review is to engage in a collaborative inquiry through the continuous improvement process to identify and develop an action plan for addressing any existing resource inequities. This inquiry aligns with the MyKit process that supports continuous improvement as the team considers data from the student index and other sources. The team examines an existing plan design for addressing the identified need. This develops a strong understanding of the resources necessary for implementation, followed by an evaluation of resource allocation and utilization to identify potential gaps in the provision of necessary resources to sustainably implement the plan as intended. Further discussion occurs to clarify the potential negative impact on whole child outcomes for a particular population of students. A representation of various perspectives, including parents, community, instructional staff, administration, and financial team members, is critical to ensure a comprehensive approach when considering the resources necessary to address student needs. The suggested resource allocation review process includes 6 phases. Phase 1, setting the stage, consists of establishing and training teams to engage in this work. Phase 2 Initiating the inquiry includes a review of school index data, the district-wide budget, per pupil expenditures across the district, and any other pertinent data. Phase 3, narrowing the focus, provides an opportunity to narrow the inquiry based upon the specific needs of a selected population of students, an existing MyKIP strategy or goal, or a system framework supporting initiatives intended to improve student outcomes. Phase 4, collaborative inquiry. The team will complete the focused inquiry utilizing one of the optional resource equity questionnaires or other resources. Phase 5, addressing the inequity. The team will develop a plan to address the identified inequity. Finally, Phase 6, MyKIP platform documentation. An assigned district official will upload data objects, record findings, strategies, activities, tasks, end targets, and interim targets into the MyKIP platform. This will enable the team to include the findings and plan to address the inequity within the required improvement plan. Additionally, this will enable the district teams to monitor progress toward resolving the identified inequity. The MDE website, Resources for Schools Identified for CSI, ATS, or TSI, provides guidance to assist district personnel and ISD RESA partners in completing the Resource Allocation Review. The Resource Allocation Review Process Guide, second edition, is located near the bottom of the page, along with other guidance documents and links to videos explaining each phase of the suggested process. For additional support, please contact your ISD RESA partner or Stephen Curry via the information provided on the screen. Thank you for viewing this overview. I wish you well in your inquiry of resource allocation to ensure improved outcomes for each of the students you serve.